So Vauban's system of defence to stop this happening, because enemies will be copying this, is illustrated here. Now, cannons had changed during his lifetime. Originally they were made of bronze and they were firing stones, which is not particularly powerful, but they converted to cast iron and firing cast iron balls, which will very easily crack a wall. And they were thinking that the age of the castle was finished, because no matter how thick you made the wall, you could still crack it with these big guns. Vauban changed the whole idea on its head, and he went back to using earthworks. So this little fortification here is a mound of earth, which then they put just a very thin layer of stone on the outside to stop the rain washing it away. It's very quick to build, it's very cheap to build. And of course, if you fire a cannonball into something like that, it will go through the outside stone, but then it's like a sandbag. Nothing happens. The earth soaks it up. He also invented this system of bastions, these angles here. Now they were very cleverly calculated so that there's no dead spots in there where an enemy can hide. Once you're in there, you're trapped, because they can get you from every single angle. He also taught his cannoneers to use what we call ricochet fire, and he could literally bounce the cannonball round a corner. So he worked all this out with his physics. So this system is kind of like the layers of an onion. If the enemy get into the first one, they've got to get over that, the next one, and then the next one. It still works as a defensive system, because this was exported to quite a few different countries. They've got them in the States, and funnily enough in Vietnam. And the Marines during the Vietnam War had to storm one of these, and they had a hell of a job. It still works. Yeah. And of course these ditches, they could flood. You can't dig a trench across a moat, so it stopped this. Yeah. If we look over here at the map, it says the France of Vauban. Now they're not exaggerating, because every one of these is a Vauban fortification. Not every one he built is shown on here. But he's given us the shape of France we've got today, all the way around borders. Vauban owned the Zoche for 34 years, and we think he spent about 2 years here. Constantly travelling. That's why he didn't have any kids. Well, with his wife, did you see the sedan chair outside in the waiting room?
Yes.
Right. Somebody worked out that Vauban did 180,000 miles in one of those. It's incredible. Yeah. Dizzy man. No, because he was a great writer. And so, on that sedan chair, he'd sit inside and write on the desk. This is his daughter, again called Charlotte, and it was through her that the chateau was passed down the line. Both today's owners today are descended from her. We've got, if you like, Vauban's CV here, if I can put it that way. So, he started off a cadet in a regiment of Condé against the king. 2 years later, he's a lieutenant for the king, on the opposite side. He then became captain, lieutenant of the guards, governor of the citadel of Lille, brigadier of the infantry, governor of Douai, lieutenant general, marshal of the whole of France. That's some career, isn't it? He died in Paris in 1707. We think he caught malaria because of all his travelling. But most of him, if I can put it this way, is buried in the church at the bottom of the hill. But his heart, on the orders of Napoleon, was taken up to Les Invalides in Paris.
Why?
Yeah.
100 years later? Wow. Why?
Because it's a mark of respect, if you like, where Napoleon's buried. But yeah, you think it was 100 years later, but noblemen, when they died, they performed a post-mortem, and his heart would be removed and put in a separate box already. Yeah, he wasn't people, no.
No, I hope the heart was
Yes. are some rooms they heat it with a brazier. It's a little pot, you put hot coals in. You'll see one at the end of the tour. So we've got 4 huge family trees here. These are all on Limoges porcelain, all the little shields. Now when you see a blank one like this, it doesn't mean they married a peasant. They didn't used to do that. They've lost the records. They don't know what the family crest was. It's about 20 years of work for all the research to get these. So we've got the lady of the family, Hélène Vibray, that's her family tree. This side, we've got Marshal Vauban, he's in the centre there. And the 2 names of today, we've got Vibray and Siglas, they're both descended from him. I think the most interesting one, though, however, is this one. You see the two names, surnames of the owners today, Vibray and Siglas. And they trace their ancestry back, right the way back. They're both descended from Saint Louis. He's the King of France who built Saint-Chapelle. That's real nobility, isn't it? Descended from a king. I trace my family tree back and there's a peasant in prison.
The other side.
So the large model we have in the centre of the room here, this is of a town called Neuf-Breizac. Neuf-Breizac is south of Strasbourg near Colmar on the Rhine. And the reason why they show you this Vauban construction is because when he was commissioned to build it, there was nothing there. He didn't convert anything. So it was just fields. So if you look at it, there's quite a few innovations for the 17th century. First of all, it's a modern grid, like they have in the States. And that was really unheard of, really, for back then. Built round a parade ground. Vauban also reintroduced the idea of barracks for the troops. You see these long buildings here. Because before him, the troops were billeted with just anybody, which wasn't very good for discipline. You can see these bastions I was talking about. Another thing that you see in France a lot is, you know that double row of trees you get down all these avenues, like going into Auxerre, we've got them. That was military. The idea was it was shade for the troops, keep them cool. Yeah, you see them here, all the way around for the centuries. The town's still the same today. The only thing they've modified is they've made the bridges bigger so you can drive cars in. Yeah.
Is that arrow?
I don't know. But it's an ancestor of the owners today, Seigneur Siglas, and he was wounded at the Battle of Périgord in 1655. So we've got a large portrait here of Louis XIV. You can tell it's Louis with a big nose, a very regal nose. Now this is by the King's portrait painter, Rigaud. So you can imagine it's a very valuable painting. What it always reminds me of is the story of the Whigs. Now, aristocracy back in that time was shaved completely bald, no hair at all. So they had these huge wigs when they appeared in public. But the wigs back then, for gentlemen, weren't washed, they were oiled. So you can imagine a hot